Hey YouTube, Dan Ottawa here, coming at you with a Vigoroth Minute Battle, and I'm sorry I cut out the name, so I apologize for that. And I quickly went through it, and it's a lot of these are single move, like the Skarmory single moves, and this is single moved, and there are issues here with like your double E to fighting, so Metacham on the lead is going to cause you problems and stuff like that. So I'm not going to talk too much about the team. I'm going to talk about two components of the team. I'm going to ignore Stunfisk because Stunfisk is everywhere. We know what Stunfisk is. It's a good answer to Noctowl. It's a great answer to the Steels. Decent answer to Lanturn too, as long as you don't get out surfed, sort of thing. And then the other two is what I want to talk about. Let's start with Skarmory, because it's funny because this matchup, even though it's a loss, it's not a terrible loss if you're like neutral, because it still takes like 3 rock slides to take you out, and these air slashes and sky tags do add up. So it's not a terrible Pokemon to use in that situation. The problem with Skarmory now is I used to like using Skarmory not a lot, but I think it was decent early in like I don't know, seasons 1 through like 7. And it was decent answers like Trevenant to a certain extent. Like they still hit you neutral with the Shadow Claws and Shadow Ball, but it was still neutral there. Like outside of Bastiodon, even like I said, even the Galarian Stunfisk matchup was not terrible. You kind of stayed in there with like stay in there with Altaria, stay in there with the Azumarill. So it was a super strong overall Pokemon to use. The problem is now it's not even Noctowl, because so I actually just did the PvP poke analysis for this. You lose Noctowl just going straight Sky Attack if they land a bunch of Shadow Balls on you, because it just like is outpacing you significantly. Where the difference is in the Noctowl matches is if you can bait a Sky Attack and land a Brave Bird, then you flip the Noctowl matchup. So you can flip Noctowl, you can do okay against Altaria, right? You're gonna do okay again. It's the secondary typing of Steel, which makes you still neutral to fighting. It is slow. Air Slash and Sky Attack is slow and clunky. Like the earlier Pokemon, like Azumarill, Skarmory, kind of was like slow and clunky Pokemon to use. So that's why you don't use it as much anymore. And then Lanturn is just like an insanely hard loss. You have nothing to throw at it. Everything's resisted. They're gonna Thunderbolt you and take you out with ease, plus come out with 100 energy. So it's not really worth using a Skarmory right now, in my opinion, unless you have 2 answers for Lanturn and 2 answers for Bastiodon. So that's a tricky combo to have two answers for both. Vigoroth is interesting because I just looked at the PV poke again, and you may think like, I'm not going to use Vigoroth, it's glassy, Metachamp's going to light it up. And yes, that's true, but it also has an insanely strong matchups just going straight body slam against a ton of the meta, including Lanturn and Noctowl. I'm going to actually bring it up on PV poke. I'm assuming you will not see it on the screen because it is out there. Like the battles will still keep going. But Vigoroth is on PV Poke for the Great League, ranked 24th. And with the Bulldoze, your hardest losses, like I said, Metachamp, Trevenant, right? You have no answer for Trevenant because everything is resisted. So that's a hard loss. Deoxys does counter users loss. Altaria just with bulk and counters his losses. So there are a lot of like losses against Keymez here. There's also, as you go into the 400 plus range, a lot of close matchups and a lot of nice wins. So Sableye, 479 loss. That's probably still bait dependent and landing a Bulldoze. But then let's get into some of these wins. Swampert, 503. So it's like 1 mud shot, 1 counter is going to flip that matchup. Watergun Lanturn is a 506. I think the Spark Lantern is even better. Yeah, Spark is 673. I'm pretty sure that's just going straight body slam too. So you beat Swampert, you beat Lanturn, Noctowl's at 597, just going straight body slam. Azumarill's on here. Galarian Stunfisk, right? There's Steels, Galarian Stunfisk, Bastiodon, Registeel are all wins. And then Lickitung, if you run into that, is so Drapion, and it's got some like really good wins, and its losses are not terrible. So I am probably, because I've been mentioning that I've been struggling finding a team. And I think in my Monday's video, I talked about how I think it's best to run a team where you have 3 general answers to everything. So in that scenario, I gave Swampert as an example, because like you're going to lose Noctowl, but you'll spam there. You'll spam the the Hydro Cannons on Medicham. You'll beat the Steels. You'll beat Lanturn. So it's overall well-rounded Pokemon. I think Vigoroth also plays that role. I think it's one of those Pokemon that you can just kind of like dominant spam, counter Body Slam in most situations. So I'm gonna probably try it. If I'm building it, like I said, you need to build for Medicham, you need to build for Trevenant, and Deoxys. So immediately to mind comes Sableye as an answer to Trevenant, Deoxys, and Medicham. So pair those 2 together. Sableye can still deal with things. Noctowl, you do win with that, but you probably want a second Noctowl answer. And it's probably a second Swampert answer as well. So what third while still maybe covering a Trevenant? So I don't know what I'm going to pair the third one with, but I think I'm going to go, let's just team build while we let these matchups play out, right? So let's team build with Vigoroth and let's team build with Sableye. See if there's any like big losses that I'm missing here. Altaria, A9 Tails. So what is something that can cover those while still covering, and I want a second option for the Steels as well. So like Registeel is an option here, but that kind of makes you double weak to, I don't like that for Trevenant. Lickitung, double weak to fighting then. Could use one as a Lickitung or Vigoroth as a safe swap to draw out the other one. I don't hate that. I don't love it either. Azumarill. Azumarill's again one of those interesting ones where, although that kind of makes you really double weak to, and then you go on Dugong, Walrein. Again, double weak to fighting, but I don't know if I hate double weak to fighting. If you can spam the body slams. Walrein, it's Walrein, Dugong. Interesting. So I'd have to mix and match here. I'm gonna try Dugong. I'm gonna try, what did I say that's down there? I don't love Registeel, but I'll put Registeel in to see here. I'll put in, what else is an option down here did I say? Lickitung. Lickitung is an option. Because Lickitung is still super spammy and bulky enough to take a lot of these things. So if I were to pair Vigoroth and Sableye, obviously Registeel, Stunfisk, Medicham all beat the 3 that I just said. But they're not hard losses. Registeel has the most sort of secondary wins down here against like Altaria and Sableye and Ninetales. But so does Dugong actually. But Lickitung doesn't have. So I don't know. I don't know how I'd pair a third. So if you have any suggestions in the comments below what you would think for a Vigoroth, even like 2 other Vigoroth. I said Sableye just because Medicham, Deoxys, and Trevenant are the top losses. So I think Sableye just easily covers those without getting like walled by Noctowl like a Trevenant would. So that's why I wanted those cores. But let me know if you have any other thoughts about what you want to pair this with. Again, I think Vigoroth is sneaky good. I think you can flip a lot of matchups. I think you can just spam the body slams and get some shields. So I'm gonna test it out. Probably today, because this is probably going up Saturday. So yeah, we will see how it goes. The problem is I think body slam's pretty good. The steals are always a tricky one because you counter. I was wondering this earlier about Brick Break, because everyone uses Bulldoze because again it's a sort of a nuke move for these steals. But if you try and land one and then you either bait and it doesn't work or you don't land it properly, you're gonna lose. So I want to see what a Brick Break does. Yes, you lose a lot of these matchups. That doesn't even make sense there. That loss. Sorry, the Vigoroth was, yeah, the Vigoroth mirror match is just whatever. But say now you lose Swampert and now you lose... Is that true? You lose Swampert, can't you just go straight Body Slam? Yeah, 1 HP. So I'm not too worried about that loss to Swampert. But for the most part, I want to see Brick Break against... Sorry, as this video is ending, just to, if you're on this, how's it going? How's your weekend? I just want to see against the Great League meta, Vigoroth with Bulldoze and Vigoroth with Brick Break. Because I don't know how significant of a difference it is. Okay, it says 3 more losses with Brick Break than Bulldoze. Swampert, which I already said, is not a real loss. The Registeel is more loss, is a loss, because even going double Brick Break, they're going to get to a second Focus Blast. But see, that requires you to bait a Bulldoze, though. And if you don't bait the Bulldoze correctly, then I bet you lose the Registeel matchup. Yeah, because that's a bait and then Bulldoze. So let's say I don't have Body Slam and I just went straight Bulldozed and they shielded. Then you're going to lose even worse in the Registeel matchup. Right? You're going to lose even worse in the Registeel matchup if they properly shield a Bulldoze or call a bait. Marowak, okay. That's a legit one. A Marowak, because you only have the Bulldoze to throw at the Marowak as opposed to Brick Break and Body Slam, which are both resisted, so you probably need to cover that weakness, which again, Sableye plus something else would cover that weakness. Frostlass, there's your second one. So there are the ghosts. That is why you run Bulldoze, because the ghost, you will have nothing to throw. But those are really the only 2 ghosts you need to worry about. Frostlass, again, Frostlass will be handled by Sableye. And then, yeah, so that's interesting. I don't think it's totally worth it, because I think for the rest, I'm looking at all these other matchups, it's just straight Body Slam. It's Body Slam, yep. Even the Obstagoon matchup, it says Brick Break does not add any significant win. So you win with 56 HP there. And if you have Bulldoze, just going straight Body Slam, 56 HP. So Body Slam and Bulldoze basically do the same thing. I mean, Body Slam and Brick Break basically do the same thing. Anyways, sorry, as I kind of did an analysis there, not on screen, so I appreciate you guys sticking around if you're here. Appreciate the thumbs up and comments. Electric Cup is on right now, so I'll link top teams beside if you are playing that. Otherwise, I appreciate watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.